Hello, everyone. I'm Ti Dave, and I'm here with Karen, and she's been targeted since 2017 that she's noticed, and I'm going to be interviewing her today. She's come out to tell her story. Karen, I'm happy you come out. I know we scheduled this before, and you had a lot of stuff come on happen, so that was kind of devastating, and you couldn't do it. So I'm glad we're able to, because I think that everybody that speaks out is making a difference. Whether anybody speaks out and says, "Oh, David made a difference," people are noticing and people are waking up to what's going on. My first question, I guess, will be, what was your life like before your targeting, and how's it been since you've been targeted?
Um, Before that, I noticed that I was targeted. I was happy. I was always, um, um, I lived out in Colorado Springs Colorado for a couple of years back in the late 90s. And then I moved back to Minnesota to be near my family in about 1997. And then I met somebody down in Robbinsdale, where I was staying, where I was born. I moved up to Mora in 1998, and I was in Mora from 1998 until about 2000 and 2020, and then I ended up moving to Hinckley, which is a neighboring city of Mora. But before my life, I mean, I grew up pretty decent. I mean, my parents were together. We did lots of things. We were pretty decent off. My dad was a trucker, a five-state area truck driver. Um, we built a new home. I was in band. I was in gymnastic. I was a football cheerleader in high school. I did pretty decent on my grades. I'm the oldest out of the four on both sides of my family. Um, and yeah, I had a great life, roller skating, football games, sleepovers, things like that, and very active, very close to my family. We had like 5-year generations. I mean, we did Christmas. There was like our second cousins were there every year. I mean, it was just, really close. And then when I was 13 years old, my mom and dad divorced. He almost killed my mom, and he was never abusive, but I found my mom at the bottom of the stairs when I was 13. He called us back home because he said he called 911. That was very devastating for me. That was the only probably traumatic thing that's ever happened to me in my childhood. My mom remarried when I was 15, and I married a really nice gentleman, and I lived in Circle Pines. So I traded schools, went to Centennial High School from middle of 10th grade, and graduated in 1984. So, and living there, I mean, I had stepsisters and brothers. There was actually 9 of us living in a double wide trailer, but we did it. We made it. We had our rules. We abided by our rules. And then when I was 18, no, and then when I was 17, I was tried to recruit. We had a recruiter over for me and my brother, my stepbrother. We were the same age, and we wanted to get into the National Guard, the Army. When you go like your 11th grade year, you go to basic in the summer, and then you go after your 12th grade, you graduate, you go into the Army. But unfortunately, my brother ended up going in, but I did not. I refused because I wanted to go into ammunition. And they said that women were not allowed to go into ammunition when I was back in the 80, 84, 80, 82, 83. So I unfortunately denied and said, I will not join because of that fact. And then I just kind of, went about my teenage years, moved out when I was 18, had a couple boyfriends. I mean, I was horseback riding, had a lot of friends. And then I met my daughter's father, and I ended up getting pregnant and having her when I was 21. And we lived in Circle Pines still, and for a couple of years. And then something drastically happened. We decided, let's move to Colorado and start over because we had friends that lived out there. So then in my 20s, I moved out, or 22, 23, I moved out to Colorado, lived out there for a few years. And then I came back here and we split. Um, and then like I said, I met my, a friend in Robbinsdale, and then I ended up, moving to Mora. When I was in Mora, I was a bartender at Fish Lake. That was my first job when I moved here to Mora. And I liked it. It was a resort. All the people from the cities, we called them cityites, would come up, and I enjoyed it. I made a lot of money. I mean, I did really well. And then I was like, I have to do something better in my life. So I ended up applying for a job. There was a position open at the hospital in town. And so I applied for that, and I ended up finding out I was pregnant at the same time with my son, who's now 24. And I ended up getting the position, and I started, excuse me, working there in 2001. I was an ER tech, which means I kind of run the show down there. I took all the 911 calls. I would talk, not 911 calls, I would talk to the ambulance when they're coming in, giving me the patient status, cleaning rooms, doing 72-hour holds, calling the chopper, calling the trauma codes, calling level ones, helping with patients, helping with sutures, you know, things like that, keeping it in order, writing discharge papers, things like that. And then in 2015, I decided I was just done. I mean, my ex-husband's best friend came in with gunshot wounds, and I was working, I couldn't see. I just got really burnt. You know, I was carrying in children that were not breathing, that were the same age as my son at the time, and I'm running in the ER with them as I'm getting them from the front door of people's, you know, I just basically, I could go on with stories about that, but it just became very emotional and disturbing, and I just had to take a break. I got burnt. You know, 15 years of seeing things like that, kids being beaten by their parents, people that didn't have no family that were so sick, and it was just like, you know, I was just done. And so I took a year off. I got married in 2012. Sorry, in October of 2012 with my husband that I met in 1999. I forgot that part. That I met in 1999, and we were together from 1999 till 2017 when I ended up filing for a divorce. But and then anyway, so I met him. I got married in October of 2012, and we got divorced after my 5-year wedding anniversary. So I took a year off after I quit the hospital, and it was great. My husband said, take a year off, you know, so I did. And that was about 2015. And then in about 2017, 2016, my marriage started turning for the worst. I mean, it was kind of bad all the time. He's a narcissistic sociopath. But, you know, when you are in that kind of situation, it's, I mean, I'm sure you know, you think that you want to save them. You know, I'm an empath. I want to save him. I want to save my marriage. I love them with all my heart. Well, things started taking a turn for the worst. And back between that time in 2016, 17, for a few years prior to that, I had this friend, and it was a girlfriend, and I don't know if I can say her name. But she was a really close friend with me, and I would always go to her about my problems with my ex-husband, or my husband at the time. She's like, I never want to meet him, Karen. I don't ever want to meet your husband. And this went on for years, and she never did. Okay. So unfortunately, you'll get this when I tell you the rest of it. She's the one that's with him right now. Unfortunately, she was sleeping with him all along. And that's why she never wanted to meet him or see him. And that's why she never came over, because they didn't want to make it awkward. So anyway, I got a divorce. But before I got a divorce, this is what happened. I had a friend and her boyfriend. Well, her boyfriend started working for my husband, who owned his own business. He's a subcontractor framer for Rutland Home, or CCC, which is one of the biggest builders, contractors here in the state of Minnesota. And so he got a position with him. My husband hired him to work. Well, things happened. They fell out a little bit. And in that same time is when in 2000 I got papers here, David, hang on. In 2016, on my 5-year wedding anniversary, I ended up calling 911 because my husband pushed me to the ground. He's never laid his hands on me before. And I called 911. 2 months later, after that, these two people that Mike, who used to work for my husband, and his girlfriend that I was really good friends with, came over, and they proceeded to tell me, we need to tell you this. We need to tell you this. And I'm like, what do you need to tell me? Well, you're Larry, my ex-husband. Can I say his name? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. Came and told Mike, and I told Mike, we need to go tell Karen. He said, if I can drive the B crazy, I wouldn't have to pay her an effing dime. I mean, he made really good money. Wow. I mean, my name wasn't on the business. My name was not on his bank account. I worked full time except for that 1 year, making decent money. And yeah, so it was really bizarre, because that's when all this started. I mean, it started back like in hang on. So when I started to notice what was going on and things were not right was in 2017. I remember this because I was like, you cannot forget the first time you hear Voice to Skull program. You can't forget that. I was shop backing my van and I was hearing voices coming out of my shop back. Very faintly, I'm going, what is that? We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. And I'm like, and I live in the country. I'm like, what is going on right now? That's the first. I kind of ignored it and thought, whatever. Finished doing my van.
Was it anybody's voice, like anybody particular
It's
person's
my
voice?
family, all my family members, and any close person at that time that I was friends with. But see, right before speaking of friends, so they use your friends. I know the Voice to Skull program. Let me tell you, if you're not aware of it, I mean, I know David, you are, but any of the other people that are doing this, if you're not aware of it, they will morph your friends, your family, and sometimes even yourself. So you know, and so whoever I was hanging out with at the time, but this is the weird thing that I'm trying to kind of coincide with my targeting. The year before that, 2017, before this Voice to Skull started on me, that I noticed, all of a sudden, within 6 months, every single person that would come over to our house every night, play pool and drink beer in our garage every night of the week, they started disappearing. No one started coming over. It was so weird. No one would return my phone calls. And I wasn't even talking about this or experiencing any of this at that time. Just everybody just started disappearing.
But your friends had done told you that he said he was going to drive you crazy, right?
Those one people did. Yep. And that's exactly what I'm not going to assume, but however, that's how that happened. You know, and I think in a way it was part of the gang stalking, you know, what they do. They first want to kind of isolate you before they're going to start your program on you. You know, I mean, but during that time, so all of a sudden all of her friends stopped coming over and I thought, well, is it because me and Larry kind of fight a lot? You know, we don't really fight in front of other people, but Larry was really rude to me in front of a lot of people and they didn't like it. So I kind of thought maybe people are just sick of it, you know? But I realized that when I look back now on certain things, now that I'm a little more educated and I can kind of see, go through my notes and kind of figure it out. But anyway, so it was kind of weird about things like that. Even, you know, and I didn't talk to my family neither. So the family thing, I was really close to, like I was telling you before. And then all of a sudden they were at my wedding, but unfortunately, we kind of all fell apart. Like they all live in Wisconsin. And I stopped going to Christmases, excuse me, and stuff like that because Larry never wanted to go with me. Well, why would you want to go to all these holidays without your significant other that's in your life, you know? So I kind of distanced myself all of a sudden. And
Did he ever
um
gaslight you? Like move objects around and tell you, oh, well, that's
oh
been
yeah. Yeah, wait, I'll get there in a second. So yeah, so anyway, I'll get through this really quick, but he so all that happened and then a year before he left, I started after the Voice to Skull, the bird thing, then it stopped for like 4 months. I didn't hear nothing. And I heard the birds once go, take a nap, take a nap, take a nap. That's what the crows sound like. I'm like, what the heck? And I looked at my husband and I said, Larry, the birds are telling me to take a nap because I was terrified. He goes, well, then take a nap. I thought that weird. And then that was that with that. But then a couple months later, it started out real like slightly like people, it was like an actual person talking to me. Two or three different one, a male and a female. And it sounded like people I knew. Like my God, you know, it just people I know. I'm not gonna say names because I could say all the names of the people that I know, but and it was like I started sleeping on the ottoman because I just couldn't sit next to my husband anymore. I was just sick of him and I was just wanting to get a divorce and the whole process took forever. And so I sleep on the ottoman. Well, the Voice to Skull would make it sound like there was rollers in my wall, like a camera moving in my wall. They'd make it sound, I'm like, you know, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know what gang stalking was. I didn't know what V2K was. I'm like, they're trying to drive me crazy. They're freaking trying to drive me crazy. And it sounded like there was like motors running, like, you know, on them train tracks, like a train. I'm like, I'm listening to the walls, you know. And then I would hear Voice to Skull say, Larry, go get the gun out of the safe. things like that. And I'm laying on the ottoman. I'm scared to death thinking my husband is going in because I didn't know what this was. So I really thought somebody was saying that. And I just had overheard it, you know, like go get the gun out of the safe and go shoot her. There were things like that. And then all of a sudden, things like when I would go and sleep in the bedroom with my ex-husband and try to get to lay in my bed, he would sleep on his side by his nightstand. And they would make me think that he was on the phone talking to some other girl. I'm in the closet. I'm in the closet. Will you get me out of get her out of here so I can get out of the closet? I mean, I was hearing this by voice to skull. I mean, they were literally trying to drive me crazy. Like they wanted me to look so insane that I would get locked up. But what's so bizarre is that it was all about my husband cheating on me, trying to kill me, you know? So it was really when he's never laid a hand on me, but he pushed me down on our wedding anniversary. And that's when I proceeded with a restraining order and he moved out. Now, when he moved out, and also I was enduring Jew weapons laying in my bed next to my husband in our marital home. And I couldn't say anything because he was a narcissist, but we'd fight. That would make me even look even more crazier. I couldn't say that to him. I felt like I was being electrocuted. I thought they wrapped electrodes around my bed frame. I mean, I thought they were really trying to hurt me and drive me crazy. I didn't know it was a program. So anyway, after he moved out and he left when he had a restraining order, when I put the restraining order on, because I thought perfect opportunity, he pushed me down. I called 911. I had to leave because I was a sober one. He wasn't. So I had to leave for the night. And then I went and that's when I went and applied for the restraining order and they came to the house and he had to leave. And I was gone. I was waiting with the girlfriend, waiting for the sheriff's department to call me back, say, he is gone. He's removed from the home. You can go home now. That's when this took a real crap. All of a sudden, I'd be sitting in my home and I mean, I always had the voice to skull. Like there was a time that I forgot about this. There was a time that, there's 2 times. Let me tell you 2 episodes. Sorry about that, David. 2 episodes that happened before Larry and Levi moved out, before I applied for the restraining order. One was a hologram. I'm in the living room with my husband and my 17-year-old, 16-year-old son at the time, and me, and I'm sitting there, we're watching American Idol, and all of a sudden I get up and I see this like a silhouette of a man, like you would call a ghost, in a tuxedo with tails and a top hat. And it came coming from across the street. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna get you. And he proceeded to walk underneath my basketball hoop. I was so scared. And I said something to my son and my husband, and my son ran outside to check. He came back and, Mom, there is no one underneath the basketball hoop. You're crazy. You're high. So I just walked away and I went into my bedroom and I was terrified. And then there was another time I'm sitting on the ottoman and my husband gave me an edible cookie. Okay, I don't do that stuff. Okay. And he sat there and he was looking really weird at me. And I'm like, whoa. I said, what did you do? And he said, and I'm like, well, why would you do that? Why would you do that to me? I don't even smoke the crap. You know what I mean? Why would you do that? I was so sick and I was whatever that he would just sit there and look at me and watch me. And then I would start well, no, that's not when I heard that, but I'm sorry. He gave me an edible cookie. That was one thing that I found very odd because I don't do this stuff. Why he gave me that. And I took a bite of it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was an edible cookie, right? I thought it was a cookie. Right. So but before that too, there was a time he never sat on the couch by the windows. He always sat on the ottoman and I sat on the couch. Well, he was sitting on the ottoman. We were watching our American Idol. And for some reason, he was sitting there with his legs out and he had his ear all prepped up to the cushion like he was listening to something. And then all of a sudden I heard, L-Dub, let me out. L-Dub, let me out. That's what a lot of people called him, was L-Dub. And I'm like, did you hear that? Because it scared me. Hear what? You're high. Go to bed. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. We know, and I would just walk away. But those were a couple episodes. But like I said, now I'll get back to after he moved out is when it was full-fledged. I mean, that's when it took on a 24/7 total DEW weapon attack. The Voice to Skull was now 24/7 of people saying what I was doing, seeing what I was seeing. They were trying to interact with me. They sounded like total human voices on a microphone. They were people's voices that I recognized. I felt like my whole house was being, like I had so much pressure in my entire home that it was horrible, the pressure. And I felt like somebody was doing this on my head all the time. Burns. I felt like I was going to blow up. I couldn't breathe. I was shaking. And this went on for 3 straight months. I called an electrician out to my house to see if maybe there was something wrong with my electrical outlets. I threw my bed frame down the stairs because I thought it was, after I Googled it, I thought it was metal. You know how metal, I threw my bed frame down the stairs because I thought the metal in my bed frame was causing this. It was horrible. I had pictures on my old camera and I know I can get them. It was stolen somehow. But I have hundreds of pictures of like my feet bright red and swollen. Things like that. But that got stolen. But that's when it really amped up, is when they left the home. I mean, I would try to walk outside to my deck. And if I walked outside, it got worse. They were trying to keep me in that house. They didn't want me going anywhere. My husband wouldn't even get my car that was in our name, that was in the shop, because the tranny went bad. Nice car too. He wouldn't get it out and pay for it for some reason, so I couldn't have a car. It was bizarre. I mean, it sat in the shop for 2-3 months, and every time I'd call to get it out, he wouldn't pay for it. I'm like, it's only $200. You make that in an hour. What are you talking
So
about?
they probably had that house geofenced, V2K and all that other weapons and all that stuff.
I could see it, David. I'm not kidding you. I could see it. It almost looked like a globe over my house. Does that make sense to you?
Well,
I could see it. It was like the tops of the leaves, and I had big trees, and I lived in it was almost like pixels. It was so bizarre. I'm like going, what is going on? You know, I'm like, I can see it like you're looking through a screen almost. And everything was so weird all the way around. The stuff that I seen, the holograms, like spaceships coming in, like in black and white, and people going like this, looking out, and then they go back in. And then it was like a double-decker spaceship. I'm not kidding you. And then on the bottom, I had another guy, and he'd look out, and it was all in black and white. I'm going, what the is going on? I'm like, this is crazy, you know? And this is after Larry left. All this stuff started happening. Like the
was
Bears.
That after the divorce?
Before the divorce.
Oh.
Before it was final. It amped up big time. So my dogs were getting sick. Okay, my dogs, even though there were 12 and 13 Jack Russell Terriers, they were spinning, they were pooping themselves, and they were vomiting. I have that in legal documentation in my divorce papers, stated in a text message to my husband, the dogs are getting sick. The dogs are sick. This is hurting the dogs. They were getting sick. It was horrible, David. They were like sick. My female dog, Cleo, she was my other Jack Russell. She would sit up on the back of my sofa and look across the street and shake at this big, you know, them big electrical boxes, the green ones you have across the street. She'd sit there and she'd look at it and just shake. It was the weirdest thing. That one, okay.
1 second. Hold on 1 second. I gotta cancel
Yeah.
some noise. There. I had to cancel some noise out. So do you think like, all right, he told his friends he was going to drive you crazy. Do you think he had the power to get you put on the list?
Either he did or somebody did this to me at the hospital as an experiment, and they were getting funded for it. Just because of some of the stories that I'm going to say. I mean, I might as well just tell you right now, we can go off track, right? A lot of us do that. So speaking of that, in 2019, the divorce was finally finalized. And I'll tell you, a lot of the DEW weapons, they continued with me, David, for months, and they did not let up. I mean, I was scared. I would take a wine glass, okay, and I put water in it, and I would set it on my bed, or I set it on the ottoman, and you could see it move. The water moved, and nobody was moving. Nothing was on in my house. I was there all alone, completely still, to prove to myself something is going on in my house. Something is going through here. It's making me sick. It's making me pass out. I mean, I remember almost seizing. I was drooling and I'd wake up and I'd pull myself out of these trances. It was like so bizarre. And while I was in, I mean, I was putting blankets up over my windows because I thought I had all sheer curtains, but I lived in I could have sheer curtains. I thought I seen one drone, but I thought there was cameras. I thought people were spying on me just because of what I was hearing by the Voice to Skull program. Like I said, I was wet behind my ears still. You know, I didn't even know I was still pooping green. You know what I mean? I didn't know what any of this was. I was so scared that I thought it was all these things. Well, the reason they do that is because they want you to look crazy. They want you to look crazy in public. They want you to tell everybody you're seeing and hearing because you have no proof and you don't even know what it is. So you can sound crazy. So one, you'll get incarcerated or you're going to get locked up in a mental institution with a mental diagnosis. So they can continue to do this to you and to other people. And that's wrong. That is so wrong. And that's what I feel was done to me. Either he put me on the list because, let me tell you, so all of this stuff that was happening to me in 2019, 2 weeks after my divorce, I had used a drug a little bit, enough not even to barely have any in my system at all. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew, but I was like, okay, that, you know what I mean? And I did, and I'm honest with that, but nothing, okay. But because I did, they knew I did because they were watching me. What a perfect opportunity to, when I ran out of gas, all of a sudden I have a state trooper. I have a deputy on me for running out of gas 3 miles south on Highway 65 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon because I was being driven around mad by V2K. Go home, go here, go there, turn left, turn right, turn up here. Look up here, that's your sister. Look down here, that's me. Turn your radio up, turn your radio down. The louder we sound, the farther we're away from you. The softer we sound, the closer we're to you. Speed up, slow down. You know, and I was hearing this, I thought, out of my speakers. Well, don't tell the police that because I got a 72-hour hold for that. But I ran out of gas. That was before I ran out of gas. Like I said, I had a trooper and a deputy. Now the deputy, I knew these guys. I didn't know the trooper, but I worked with them guys in the ER for 15 years. They were, you know what I'm saying? They come into the ER all the time. And my phone was dead. I was in Circle Pines that day being driven mad by the Voice to Skull program. I don't know if you have heard any other people talk about that, how they'll kind of drive you around, make you want to go into the woods or make you run over to this person's house because they're going to save you, or you know what I mean, things like that.
Yeah, I was
Huh?
in the country and got drove mad like that and was just taking turns I was in such fight or flight. I was just
Yes.
taking turns and turns and turns, and then I ended up like in another state, didn't know where I was, and so confused and bewildered, and I wasn't on nothing. So I can
Yeah.
relate to that.
Yeah. And
I was
so
just
what
taking any
happened,
turn, just to get away, and just crazy. I know what you're
and
talking.
because they know where you are, they know your location, they're watching what you're doing. And if you have any biometrical implants in your system, because they do that. Now remember, I worked in an ER for 15 years, and I mean, I worked with a doctor that is now retired that worked for SOS, which is a state operated services for the mental health department for the state of Minnesota. I worked with him side by side. Okay. I mean, there's just too many hands in the cookie jar that I can point. I don't want to point fingers that just make my story go, what if, could be, right?
I was going
It's
to
because,
ask you that too. Like when in your 15 years in the ER, did you ever see any TIs come through there?
yes. Mm-hmm. And one guy was the only guy, and I was the only one. And some of the nurses, Karen, you need to go in there with him because they call all the time. He had a tattoo of the American flag on his chest. He'd take off all of his clothes. He would just, them nurses couldn't control him, but you let me in there. I'm like, hey, what's up? Quit calling the ambulance to get a freaking ride. If you want to ride, don't do that anymore. You're going to get yourself locked up. Well, he ended up getting state ordered. He had to take meds. But I mean, there's a few people that I've seen that come in there that were like that. I mean, people that wanted to, people are chasing me or, things like that. And these cops put them off as because they smoked pot or because they They used to be a meth head, done drugs. It doesn't matter. Those are the perfect people they want to discredit, especially when you're just an experiment. I mean, a lot of it's easier to not have to worry about that person because they've done drugs before, or they've been an alcoholic before, or they've got something under the law on them. You know what I mean? They
Yeah, it's
discredit
easy
people
to target people like that.
and they run with it like they did with me. That's what I'm trying to say. I've had 2 tickets in my life. I had a DWI in 2006 because I drank 3 shots of tequila really fast, and I got a call from the sheriff's husband, deputy's husband, who I've known since, can you come and get me? So I went and got him after work, just got off work in the bar, had a few shots. I got a DWI, got thrown in jail. Yep, that was and then I had a DUI from that incident when I told you I had used a few days prior, doesn't matter, barely anything. And I ran out of gas, being run around by V2K to go down to Circle Pines, to go home, go here, it's your brother, I'm going to save you, get over here. And they use their voice. And it's not them saying that. But when you don't know what this is, what are you going to think? Oh my gosh, something's happened to my family. They're trying to help me. Oh my gosh, it's my best friend. She's trying to save me. I better go. You don't know because you don't know what it is. So I ran out of gas. Okay. Like I told you, I had a deputy and a state trooper 3 miles south on Highway 65 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon after being driven mad by V2K down in Circle Pines. I was on my way home. I thought I'd make it home 3 miles from my house, and I didn't. I ran out of gas, which I thought I had gas, but it doesn't matter. Within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I had an ambulance, a Minnesota state trooper. No, I had a Minnesota state trooper and a deputy on me in 3 minutes. I was standing outside my car, it was drizzling. I'm like, oh crap, I ran out of gas. And it was that fast. And I looked, and one said, well, you called 911. I said, no, I just ran out of gas. I'm fine. Well, come over here by the side, Karen. Come over here by the side. And it was like uneven pavement. And I was so bombarded from the weaponry and stuff. You know how you get?
The vertigo and stuff.
And I was kind of like, you know what I mean? And it was uneven pavement anyway. And I kind of was like, whoo. And like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Maybe you should go to the ER and just get checked out, Karen. Karen, really? And I knew these guys. I'm like, no. And then all of a sudden he goes, but are you sure you're okay? Are you on any drugs? I go, no. And they're like, well, we got a call that this was a drug related call. So I got 2 now. One that I called 911. I did not call 911 because my phone was dead. And when they told me I called 911, I said, that's impossible because my phone is dead. I didn't call 911. Why would I call 911 if I just ran out of gas? Well, it got called in as drug related. I go, really? Drug related? Okay. And then he goes, well, can I look in your car? I'm like, yeah. So the state trooper comes over to the side of the car where it's, not on the road. And he starts digging in my purse. I'm like, what are you doing in my purse? Get out of my purse. You have no right. I ran out of gas. And that's when the deputy started putting his hand in my pocket. I go, you know what? Get your hand out of my pocket. I have nothing in my pocket, but get your hand out of my pocket. There should be a female here right now. I'm like, this is bullshit. And I was really nice though about it. And then I was being like, I kind of stumbled or like, I was scared at that point. Really, David, I was scared. With what was going on. All this was new to me. Getting
Was
hit
your
with
husband
weaponry.
friends with them officers?
He was a drug dealer and never got in trouble.
Right.
Oh, I got the sun coming in. Sorry, might want to move. But anyway, so they're like, hey, Karen, why don't you go to the ER and get checked out? Well, I was so scared at that time, David. I worked in the ER for 15 years. I thought, what a better place to be and be safe, right? The ER, right? Especially where you work, right? Within 5 minutes, I had an ambulance on site. I had a tow truck on site, which I ended up calling Steve, who owns A1 Rescue, and talked to him about the situation, which he thought was very odd because the tow truck that came and got my car, because I decided on my own recognizance, yep, I better go to the ER and get checked out because I was terrified. I didn't know what was going on. When the ambulance came, now listen to this. Because if I was going to tell you right now what happened to me, to any normal human or any other person, that it sounds crazy, and that is totally right there with authorities or an EMT or a police officer saying about what I'm going to say to you right now is a total lockup, 72-hour hold right there. They're not going to believe you, or not 72 hour, but they're not going to believe anything you say. When I got in that ambulance that I worked for 15 years, went to nursing school, that ambulance, I got in there because they're going to take me by ambulance because I ran out of gas. So they're just going to come get an ambulance, take me to the hospital, get checked out. They were going to take my car and tow it for me to the hospital parking lot, which is 3 miles away, because I ran out of gas. Thank you, I said, thank you. Okay, I get in that ambulance. Hey, Karen, I'm looking at him. One looked like she had a wig on. The ambulance was completely clean. No IV tubing, no blanket, no saline, no nothing. A bed and a chair and a machine, like one of the pull-up machines that you don't use in an ambulance. Those are the roll-around old ones that we got rid of 2 years prior in the ER because we upgraded. I know because I helped redecorate the ER. They put an oximeter on my finger. I'm sitting in the chair like, okay, close your eyes for 10 seconds. Open them up. What did you see? You can't make that up. And that's what they did to me. I was terrified. They go, let's do it again. And I said, you take me to that hospital right now. I'm not playing this game. And they did. And when I got to the hospital, they had me put into ER3, which is the glass doors. They had everything taken out of ER3, which is for a 72-hour hold psych patient. And I'm going, what's going on here? I'm here to be checked out because I'm dizzy. So why is this room cleaned up? Darla Anderson, the nurse that I worked with for years. What is going on, you guys? Why am I in a room that's totally cleaned out? I'm here because I'm dizzy on my own recognizances. Then they started torturing me big time heavy in that ER. I mean, I felt like I was going to explode. And then the nurses, so I feel like they've been involved because the nurses were acting weird. I knew them all. I even partied with a few at the bar. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm going, what is going on, Michelle? What's going on, you guys? Darla, just everything. I'm not going to get into detail, but something was really strange about that. They started all acting weird. Well, guess what happened? I went to jail, and I don't know why. They ended up taking me to jail. Yep, the deputies came, and they took me to jail. I'm like, why am I going to jail? I'm not going to say nothing. I'm being, one, tortured, V2K, and I'm scared to death. Have really no clue. They took me to jail. I go to jail. I spend the night. And the next day, you're supposed to wake up and see the judge at noon, right? Well, noon, and I believe, okay, I knew a lot of the bailiffs. She used to babysit my son. We have the same birthday. I mean, this is so bizarre. And I'm like going, guys, what's going on? Don't I get to go out and see the judge? No, it's noon. No, not today. I stood there. I pointed my finger in that big glass window that you can't see out, but they can see you. And I said, you let me out of here because I know what's going on. Guess what? They let me go. Then I come to find out my car is an impound.
And you didn't sign no paperwork?
Nope.
I went through that twice. I'm not going to say it was in Texas. I'm not going to say the city, but I went through that twice for 3 days. The first time I stayed in the cell 3 days. They put me in some kind. They just stripped me of my clothes, took all my property, put me in there, and then came back 3 days later. I mean, they'd give me my tray. They came back 3 days later, didn't sign no paperwork, see no nurse or nothing. Then the officer said, "You ready to go?" I said, "Where are we going?" He dropped me off at some store out in random wherever. And then the second time, they done that the second time, and I was just totally in psychological distress and was screaming bloody murder for 3 days straight. I screamed because usually you sign papers, you go through bookends, stuff like. So then they came and said, "David, if you sign this paper, we'll let you go again this time, and we're not going to pick you back up." And he had to really, really talk me into signing. As soon as I signed the paper, they tackled me and then took me to some mental hospital in Dallas. But the first time, I sat in there 3 days, didn't sign nothing, and then they come and got me, gave me my stuff, and dropped me off at the store in the middle of nowhere. So I've been there before.
Well, what's crazy about this is the fact that when you talked about, you think my husband put me on this list. Okay, here's where it gets a little more dark or deeper. This jail incident, right? Okay, so I got let out. They let me go. No papers, no nothing, okay? Well, they said your car is in the impound. Well, one, I found out that they had, when I got my paperwork to go, they called the judge for a search warrant to search my car without me knowing. I found that out in the paperwork that I got. That's what I had. They said, yeah, I had gotten that my car was impounded because I had they had a search warrant. That was it. No ticket, no nothing. And then I called the impound lot and he came. I walked home because actually I live close to there. I walked home and I called Steve at A1 Towing, and he actually was nice enough. He came and got me because I said something's not right. He goes, I know. I go, I gotta come get my car, but I have no way to get it, and I need to get my paycheck so I can pay for it. He goes, Karen, I'll come and get you. And I didn't know this guy hardly from Adam. I just knew him from, and so he Can you hold on a second? I gotta let my cat in. I'm sorry. Sorry. Oh, stay in.
There, I paused it.
Yeah, sorry about that. So anyway, Steve came and got me, and he went to the bank with me to get so I can cash my check so I can pay him. And on the way out to his lot, I said, I don't understand why my car's at your lot. He goes, I don't know neither, Karen. I go, they told me they were taking my car to the hospital, that you're towing it to the hospital. He goes, I wasn't on the call, but he's the owner. He heard it come in, and so was like closer. He came and got it. He goes, we were both confused because they told us to take it to the hospital. But then yet within minutes, they told us to take it to the tow company, to my impound. And he thought that was very, very odd. And I thought that very odd too, because when I got my car back, he only charged me for one. He only charged me $225 or something like that. No, it was just one. Yes, that wasn't a two. So I was really pleased about that. But when I got my car, I know my car. My car was my baby. I mean, it was a Saturn Aura. It was a beautiful race car. I mean, it was just, and I took care of it. Like on the bump on the back seat where like your tranny would be, you have that bump between the two seats in the back. And then my armrest, something was taken out of there. There was like a box. I'm not joking. You can't make this up. I mean, I vacuumed that car all the time. I'm like, something's not right. And then where my armrest goes, it was sunk in. I'm like, what happened here? Who was screwing with my car? I mean, I even said something to Steve about it. He goes, nobody gets in here, Karen. It's locked and there's cameras. I go, well, something's wrong with my car. And you could see the carpet was super loose. I was like, this is so weird. But anyway, but unfortunately, after that, a week later, I had a P.O. box because I wasn't getting my mail and I was staying with a friend. I go to the P.O. box on that same day, or wait, right before I say this, I'm sorry, before this incident with my car, before my divorce was final in October, in end of June of that year, my husband placed 2 orders of protections on me. My husband is a square back. He's 250 pounds. He's a construction worker. He was a town fighter and fought everybody every night in the damn bar. I was the nicest person, never had any assault charges, never would demeanor. He ended up getting granted 2 orders of protections on me for 2 years against him and my son. So I could not speak to Larry or my 17-year-old son for 2 years because I couldn't be in court that day because he had hired a big attorney. I didn't have an attorney because I didn't have any money for the divorce. And he got them granted because I couldn't show up because I was a mental health worker at that time. And if I didn't show up for my job, I would lose my license. I'd be in big trouble. You know what I mean? Because I had one client. So if I couldn't show up, I had to be at work. You know what I mean? They give you 24 hours. So not only that, but he put 2 orders of protections on me saying, yeah, and there was no police report saying that I beat my son, that he was afraid for his life for me. I'm like, where are the police reports supporting this? Where are your character witnesses supporting this? How did you even get this granted? Well, but you didn't come to court. I go, but I called your attorney and asked for a continuous, and your attorney told me no because he's a jerk.
So
you know what I mean?
So in the divorce, he got everything, even the kids.
Wait though. So okay, wait a second. So then I had the order of protections on me, right? I didn't violate them at all. Why would I? That's a felony charge, David. I didn't even ask my ex-mother-in-law, Levi's grandma, if he was okay. He was 17 at the time, just like his dad, a drunk, narcissistic, verbally abusing his mom. I mean, I love him to death. It was both of our faults the way we brought up our child. Okay. But still, I was, you know what I mean? And I wasn't nice neither. I started saying some pretty mean crap and because I was just pissed. All right. I'm only human. I was pissed. I was saying, F you, you're a jerk. You know, get out of my office. And I'm the one that filed. But anyway, so after I got that little incident when I got thrown in jail, I had a P.O. box. 1 week later, the same day that I got thrown in jail, when I told you I was down driving around Circle Pines by Voice to Skull program, I get a ticket. Listen to this. I get a ticket in the mail saying that I violated my order of protection.
Wow.
How do you get a ticket in the mail for something that's a felony charge? A ticket.
Right.
I'm like, to piss me off, to try to drive me to do something erratic. I was
Right.
madder than a hornet. The same day I got thrown in jail, I get a ticket in the mail signed by a deputy saying, Larry called and said that you pulled in the driveway. I wasn't even there. And you know what? You can't go off by hearsay for a violation of an order of protection, right?
Right.
So yeah, so that's why I think a lot of this is the judicial system in that county. I
That and
think
they love and then if they press your buttons the right way, then it just makes you look even worse. What they say
yeah,
about you look true.
and so they tried to get that. Well, that got thrown out of court because it never happened. But guess what? I was smarter than that. I'm like, it just didn't make sense to me. I mean, I kind of knew what gang. Then I started Googling gang stalking, and then I kind of started seeing things about it. You know, I seen a lot of the government stuff though about it, MK Ultra. I didn't really see like the stuff that I know now, like a lot of us go through. I mean, it was just fresh, you know. And back in 2017, there really wasn't much and many people out speaking about it like there is now. You know, so I was looking more and I was just really confused. But there's another tactic they use. I mean, they just try to go on and then driving me all over county to county. David, I drove over 5 different counties. I went into people's homes sober, scared in Ogilvie because in my van, because my car was still in the shop because he wouldn't pay for it to get out because that's part of the tactic. So I do believe he does have something to do with it or he knows something and is being gagged. To get him out of jail, or maybe I'm an experiment and he's not supposed to speak about it because it's a government. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. It
Right.
could be many things, but I do
Plus, if he
believe
knows
that.
the right people and he's got pulled the right people, he can just get you targeted anyway.
Yes. And like I said, one of my friends that thought I slept with her husband, which I never did. That's also another thing they did. She called me. Her name is Jessie. She used to be a deputy for the county that I lived in. And her and her husband were one of the first people that I met when I moved to Mora because her husband and my husband were on the same pool league. And this was back in 99. And that's how I met her. And then she ended up going to school. And she was, you know, they were very kind, nice people. We got along with them. We always went to pool league and me and her would just sit and talk and have a drink, you know, and the guys that play pool. And well, she ended up going to school to be a deputy, to be, you know, deputy sheriff. And she worked for that county. Well, she ended up getting fired because she was supposedly taking narcotics and stuff like that. She came to work one day with her belt on backwards. That's hearsay. I don't know if that's true. We became really good friends and her husband ended up hanging himself, which I find very odd, in their bedroom. And she accused me of sleeping with him. She goes, well, my best friend said you slept. And David, me and him would have never thought that. I have seen him a few times in the bar during the day when I'd stop in and see my girlfriends that were bartenders. And we would sit and talk and he would tell me how much he loved his wife and how much he loved Jessie. And that was it. So I found that very disturbing that was told about me. And then a week later, I was told that by my ex-husband that Grant Baldwin, whose family owned the bakery in Mora, that I was a very close family friend, that I stole his gun off his wall. Now, this is all within 2 weeks. And I'm like, so I called, he goes, ha, ha, ha. And my husband's like, ha, ha, call Grant in the bakery because he didn't have a cell phone because he didn't believe in him. Ha, call Grant in the bakery. I'm like, you were being weird. And so I called him and he's like, Karen, did you steal my gun off the wall? I'm like, what are you talking about, Grant? I didn't even know you had a gun on the wall. Why would I steal your gun? Well, my gun's missing and somebody said you stole it. And I'm like going, now that would never occur. That is not my character whatsoever. So they started to character assassinate me by these little things. They started to get the town to believe it. They started getting everybody involved. And I don't know if there was someone around showing a badge, a fake badge, or somebody in power or somebody they just trusted that were saying this, but that was that. And then 2 weeks later, My friend said I stole $1,000 from her. Katie Anderson, who I was very close to, and she was a radiology tech in the hospital I worked at. So I was working with her for 15 years, and we were very, very close, very close. And she accused me of stealing $1,000, and she was missing $1,000. Remember that day? And I was going to get paid. I'm like, Katie, why would I steal your money? Are you kidding me?
And this is a small town, right? So it was
Mhm.
like they were making up all these stories to isolate you in this small town and make everybody mad about you.
Yep. And to make me look crazy. And then to try to make me be unstable. And then because I had partied a little bit, it's like you know what I mean? Don't start throwing rocks at a glass house, people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like going, but because I did it occasionally or whatever, that's not what they think. That's not what they were told. They were told that I was an addict. They also was
Right.
told that I was a whore. And I'm like going, what are you, people that know me? I mean, I was really well liked, David. I mean, I kept a clean house. I was a great mom. I mean, I wasn't perfect. I said some pretty mean crap to my kid, but I apologize for that. You know, I mean, I was being driven mad. They didn't know what I was going through. They didn't know the psychological warfare that I was going through. I was told that by V2K, they pounded in my head that my husband had a baby with my matron of honor, because my matron of honor all of a sudden started coming over with makeup on and wanting to spend the night and texting my husband 61 times while we were at First Bingo. And guess what? They hated each other. So very bizarre. So I think a lot of it too is the community policing. I
Yep.
think also started out there too. And I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or a perfect opportunity. You know, going through a divorce. She's in an abusive relationship. You know, look at her. She's got her shit together. She's always so nice to everybody. I never talked about people. I mean, actually, I'd sit in my garage and we'd always have people every night. And I would be sitting in my garage and some people would start talking about somebody. And I was the person that stepped in and said, you know what? I don't think we should really be talking about her right now because she isn't here to defend herself. And that pissed a lot of people off. We're how old? We don't need to be sitting around, especially at my place. You don't talk about people unless they're here to defend themselves. I will not have it. You know, so a lot of things like that. And I was always the mom taking all the kids to the football game, taking them to the dances, picking them up from the dances, watching everybody's kids at the pool, working full time, going to college, having a beautiful home for barely nothing because I wasn't like that. I was a thrift store. I love the thrift stores. Woohoo! Give me a thrift store and you are in trouble because I'll keep you there forever. You know, I like the thrift stores. I decorated my house. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And it was all on stuff that was thrown away or at a garage sale or something that I just picked out of the yard and made out of rocks, you know?
So all these
And I
so
think they were jealous.
all your friends and stuff and all the people in this small town just shied away from you and stopped messing with you, right?
They
I'm
wouldn't
from
even
a
help
small
me.
town, so I know all about that. Yeah.
I mean, when Larry divorced me, listen to this. So when we got separated, I wasn't working at the time because I told you that I um filed for the divorce. I filed a restraining order because that was a perfect opportunity. I needed to get out, David. It wasn't going to work. There had to be and God above, it was a God thing. I truly believe it. 911. He pushed you to the ground. He's never touched you before. That is a perfect opportunity for you to go tomorrow and get a restraining order. So you have 30 days to do your divorce papers without any abuse because I needed to get out. For 2 years I tried. And I got set off track. What was I saying? But yeah, the small town thing. I forgot what I was saying. Do you remember what I was saying, David? I forgot.
You were talking about
Squirrel.
how they isolated you, how you used to take care of people's kids and
Oh yeah, I mean I used to do
babysit,
all. Yeah,
and you were
and
well liked.
I was well liked. You know what I mean? I mean, I wasn't an angel. Don't get me wrong. Did I lie sometimes? Yeah. I mean, but for the most part, I was the one that stayed home and was like, I had to go get the kids from the dance, and those usually didn't get over till 10:30. Well, they're in the garage already half pickled. They can't get, and they wouldn't get behind the wheel of a car. You know, I had to be responsible for that. I was the one going out four-wheeling with the kids every weekend out in the country to my son's godparents' house, and I stayed sober because all of our kids were out there four-wheeling on four-wheelers. I'm
What
not going to have
happened
a
after
platform.
the divorce was final, as far as your targeting?
Well, it was really bad. I was being driven mad by V2K. I ended up being homeless, David. I ended up going to the homeless shelter. I moved in with a friend. I had an apartment for a month. The apartment that I had, Well, I ended up leaving the house in April because he kept on, after the restraining order was off, he kept on coming up and harassing me. He would tell me he'd give me $250 if I would do sexual favors with him, being his wife still. He would pay me for it. He came up and he would be verbally abusing me. What do you mean? Where's this? And he was trying to drive me crazy to where I would call 911. And I said, you need to get up here and get him out of here. And then I ended up leaving. I ended up just saying, you know what? April 26th, 2 days before court. It was a Friday. Monday was court. I was taking him to court for temporary spousal maintenance because I had filed that 30 days before. I had no idea. I was still living in the home. Is he coming back home? He wouldn't talk to me about it. Am I going to be staying here? Because if I am, I got to make sure I got some money coming in until I can figure out what and how I'm going to move, what's going to go on. And so I applied for temporary spousal maintenance, and I was really fair about it. I didn't put down anything for leave. I put down exactly what I needed, and it was barely anything. And he got so pissed that he would come up and he'd sit there and he would just abuse me verbally and try to drive me crazy. You didn't say that. You said this. And, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then, one time I came home, they took the linoleum out of my bathroom floor. I just had my bathroom remodeled and I was gone for a few days. I came home and it was gone. And when I came home and said something about it, you know what they said? You're fucking high. I go, no, I'm not. I have pictures. Where's the linoleum? They took it out. They also repainted my wall a lighter orange to try to drive me crazy. And they took panelings and would flip it because they knew I was looking because I was being driven mad by V2K. So I was looking at all these things. And so they were doing this to me. Outlets upside down. They took spoons. They rearranged my cupboards. What else did they do? Oh, they stuck wires in the tree outside my kitchen window. One that was, about the size of a pencil. A big, long, thick wire out of a tree branch that was straight. And then the next one over was like a pig's tail perfectly all the way down. And I noticed him one day and I'm like, what are those? Where did those wires come from? I go to my husband and he goes, oh, that's where what do you mean? That's where we do the deer. I go, no, we've never done the deer there. We do it in the pole barn. So where do those wires from? Oh, you're effing high. Those have always been there. I'm like, no, they were never there. So, I mean, that's just another thing. Like when I was married, the little things that he was doing, moving the cupboards, moving them like this far over because you could see it from the wallpaper. Because I was the one that was cleaning up to drive me batty, to drive me crazy. Yeah. The linoleum was gone out of my floor. Brand new floor. I mean, it was only 2 months old, a redecorated bathroom, and I had black.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
so you were really going crazy at this. So you were really going crazy when you're coming home and all that.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Then you're trying to tell people they won't listen.
No, and I was trying to show people. I have so many character witnesses. Like they spilled paint on the floor. Okay, my paint was Yuma, which is a desert color, like an orange. They spilled paint because all my rollers were missing and the extra paint that I had downstairs, the leftover was gone. And all the white paint was gone because they did something to the wall, the one wall that was paint Yuma desert color. While I was gone, they did something to the wall because I took, I'd go for a couple days or whatever. They took the wall and they repainted it because the person that helped me paint it, I had her come over to verify that with me. And they spilled it. They spilt it on the floor and I could smell paint when I came home too. I'm like, do you smell that? Because Terry and Brian were like, kind of smells like paint. And then and what happened was they must have spilt paint on our carpet. So when they tried to clean it up, it looked like a faint blood stain. So here I'm thinking there was a murder in my house. Okay. So then by V2K, they killed a baby in your house. I'm like, wow. Oh my God. I mean, I was being driven mad.
Was there a point that they convinced you were going crazy?
They tried to convince me I was going crazy. They tried to, but I'm like, what the F? I'm too strong for that. I was too strong.
That's good.
What happened was I was crying out for help to people that I trusted, David, to people that I've known for 20 years that knew my character. And somehow they turned against me.
Yep.
They don't even talk to me anymore. They stopped talking to me. When my mother died, nobody was concerned about me. Nobody even asked me if I was okay. You mean people that you've known for 15 years that are like your brothers and sisters that love you to death aren't even going to ask you if you're okay after your parent dies or even know your parent died? I mean, it's just bizarre. I mean, it's just like, that's why I kind of know that the judicial system and I think the authority were involved. I really do, because I think someone was going around and I really do. I think something, yeah, I'm not going to go there because I could really go, but just everything just doesn't add up, you know? I mean, the linoleum out of my floor, my car being tampered. I ended up in a homeless shelter. I mean, I was pawning stuff from my house. Like I said, I'll go back. I was pawning stuff from my house and on a loan because I had no money and I was trying to get a job. It was winter time. Nobody would come shovel my driveway. Kids that I knew that were 5 years old, their parents are my son's godparents, and I've known these little poops. And then you know what they told me when I asked them to please come over, and they're in their 20s? Could you please come over and help me shovel? Because we got a ton of snow. It was just wet. I couldn't shovel it. Could
Now
you
you
please come
get
over and
tickets
help
if you don't have your driveway shoveled, right?
Yeah. Do you know what the kids told me? Why don't you buy a shovel? These are 24, 25-year-old kids with children of their own that have known me their whole freaking life since they were 5. And all I was asking for was somebody to please come and help me shovel my driveway. And they're trying to drive me crazy. Well, buy a shovel. I'm like,
Right.
what the fuck did I ever do to you that you can't come over and help me at least plow my little driveway so I can get my van out of my driveway so I can go to my job interview? You know, it was bizarre. Nobody would help me. No one.
No.
Yeah, it was just weird. I did go to the FBI on 10/15/18. I don't know if you got that I emailed you or I sent you a picture of the pass, escort required.
Do
That was
you want
before
to do the
COVID.
pictures now?
You can if you want. We can go ahead and do that. I mean, we have a few minutes, so let's go through the pictures. And you know what, David? Let's just do a second interview, maybe
I'm
again,
interested
huh?
in what they told you because I called. Well, I
Yep.
think. Well, now that I look at it, I was seeing 2018. I just now got that video my handler sent me, community policing. So I was really green to all of the ins and outs, what a honeypot
Yep.
was, what a
Me
perp
too.
was, and all that. So what was
Me
we talking
too.
about? They took it out of my mind. What was I talking about? Oh,
The
FBI.
FBI.
So I called
Yeah.
my friend on three-way, Lynette Castle, rest in peace. She died and she got murdered.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
but I called her on three-way and we called the FBI and the FBI. She said, "Hold on, I'm gonna get you to the right people." It was in Jacksonville, the office out of Jacksonville. And I had all kinds of evidence I was going to present. So then about 5 minutes, we're on hold for 5 minutes, and then somebody comes across. Don't call here no more. We're not going to listen to you. You're absolutely nuts, and hung up on me. So now
Mhm.
that I know how they intercept calls, I think that's
Yes,
what
they do.
happened. I don't think
Yep.
that was the actual, and it may have been them, but I don't think that was them doing that.
I've had a lot of calls intercepted. I think they're actually blocking my
So
children from
I'm just
calling
wondering what
me.
they told you when you.
Huh. It's really funny because this was before COVID. So if you want to pop that up, I did go down to the FBI for the first time because I thought they were going to help me. You know, this is 18, right, David? This is before I even knew that they were involved. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, in a sense, whoever they may be, they might not be. I'm not going to point fingers, but however, I'm thinking this is a high authority. They're going to help me. Of course, the FBI, the sheriff's department ain't doing nothing for me. They don't believe me. They think I'm crazy. I'm not going there because they're going to shoot me back into a 72-hour hold, and I'm not like that. So I went down there and I got to meet with a lady and a gentleman. They sent yeah, yeah. Do you see my wrist there? If you can see, there's like a square. If you go down from the middle of that vein and then go over to the left, it almost looks like a patch.
I'm trying to.
My wrist, they always get like that. It's bizarre.
I'm trying to get the.
The FBI one.
Well, I'm trying
Yeah,
to
we
get to
can do
where I
that.
can scroll down with my cursor. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Because my screen's in the way. Okay.
Yeah, and next to that is where they sabotaged my car in the homeless shelter with my antifreeze. I was just pissed. Brand new motor. They did that in the homeless shelter.
Which one?
Right there, there's a visitor pass with
Okay.
the red stop sign. That's from the FBI. It kind of got faded, but I put tape over it. It was on 10/15/18. Karen Marie. I was still Ammerman, so I was still married. My name hadn't been changed yet.
Sorry, it's upside down.
Yeah, sorry about that. But it says visitor escort required, and I was down at the FBI, and
You
you can
can see
see
the
that.
seal right here.
Yeah. And you know what? There was a female and a male came down, and I was thinking I was so excited. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're down on their way. I was so excited. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I'm like, you answered my prayer. Actually, I wasn't trained. I was saved again in 2020, by the way. So anyway, I'm like going. and they came down. It was a lady and a man. I said, do you know what? I said, I'm being gang stalked. I said, they go, what do you mean? I go, it's kind of strange. I said, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm being electrocuted. I go, do you know what MK Ultra is? They go, no, we've never heard of MK Ultra. I go, excuse me? You're Federal Bureau of Investigations and you don't know what MK Ultra is from the 1940s, 50s? They go, no, ma'am, we've never heard of that. I said, well, you know what? I guess my interview here with you is over. But guess what? I'm going to run home real quick and I'm going to make some really good vegetable soup. And I'm going to come on back down and we will have a bowl of soup and we'll chit chat about MK Ultra. They got pissed. I was so upset. I'm sorry, but I did. And then I left.
Did you mention COINTELPRO?
They had
By
no
chance?
idea what MK Ultra or COINTELPRO was. They had never heard of it before. And I said, well, I'm going to go home and make some soup because I live an hour away and I'll bring y'all some down and
Wow.
we'll talk about it. Yeah, but I went down there twice. The second time I went, this was after COVID. This was in 2020. They told me that I had to call and make an appointment. However, I'm not going to waste my time doing that. So I did not do that. But I have called the UCLA. I've talked to them. They told me to seek mental health, of course. So I stopped calling UCLA. Are you, yeah, UCLA, is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I called them, yeah, but no. So yeah, I did go to the FBI. I mean, like you can see the burns, there's a lot, you can tell what they are. Like my feet, according to what I had scanned by Jesse Beltran, there is no implant according to my results that are preliminary. There is nothing in my foot, but they always get me. I might see how my face is red on my neck. Those are burns. And what's so weird is they come like that and then they go away. But they hurt like a beaver. They hurt so bad, like a torch is being on me, like a
And
flame.
you might have one in your foot, like you might have.
Right, exactly. But I don't exactly. I understand what you're trying to say. I need to go see John. We'll talk about that later. I would love to go see him. But there's lots of things like with the burns, and these directed energy weapons, they're radio frequency. I mean, it's so bizarre. And see how I get those. Do you see them white spots? Do those look familiar to you? Do you get them all over your body when you're being targeted?
Holly gets them.
I get them when she's targeted.
Yeah.
It's
These
horrible.
right here, right there.
Yeah, and they're all over my body. Like
And
I
I've
have
heard other
witnesses.
people talk about the same thing too. I think that's wow.
I have witnesses of my friends at work that know about this. One of my best friends is she's an ex-Virginia State Police trooper. And that was when I was walking. There's
Right.
a few of them that are better, but I was walking out of my place of employment and it was only 50 feet. That's nothing. I mean, if you flick the other ones, because it goes away pretty quickly, it's like an instant burn and then it goes away. That is a marking on my back. That happened in 2018. 2019, and it hurt so bad. I woke up, I'm like, what the heck is that? I woke up like that. I'm like, so I couldn't see it. And so I started
And these
taking
cameras
pictures.
I think these phone cameras are rigged because Holly will have very bad burns. And when you take the picture, it don't show up. But I'm talking about dark red burns, severe burns.
Yeah. I have a bunch of them. I probably could have sent you 50 more. That's why I said pick and choose what you want. But can you see the mark on my spine down there? That's what I'm taking. But like right there, if you look at that right now, yeah, see that's right there. Yep, right where that cursor was. I woke up, that thing hurt so bad. But if you look at my skin, you can see all the white marks, like right to the right of that, how your skin looks modeled like that. That's targeting. And you wouldn't know unless you're a target, but my camera takes crappy pictures. I mean, you can see like scars on my face, like X's and O's, but it's just bizarre. And like, it was so red there. It was way redder than that.
Yep.
It was horrible.
That's what I'm saying. These cameras kind of mask.
They rig it.
Uh-huh. And people can say what they want. I know because Holly's had some severe burns and we took the picture and I'm like, wow, it didn't even show up.
See how them blisters? See how it's red and there's a bunch of blisters?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does yours itch real bad, burn on top of burning?
Yeah.
Do you ever get nausea and vertigo with it?
What's that?
Do you ever get nausea and vertigo with it?
Yep, and I get the diarrhea all the time. They mess with my bowels really bad.
Yep.
I mean, to where I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease and IBS, and I know it's a man-made IBS and a man's Crohn's, because I can have rice one day and I'll be completely fine, but rice is the number one thing for Crohn's. There's certain things that if Holly knows for IBS that you are not supposed to have. I could eat them one day and be completely fine, and then when they want to piss me off, they do that. But that's when they sabotage my car. When my antifreeze through on that's my driver's side.
And
Down
direct energy weapons liquefies you when they, especially when they hit
Yes.
you in the stomach. A lot of people have diarrhea from direct energy weapons, really bad.
I have it documented with a bunch of my friends that believe me from church. They truly believe this. They
And
know
right
it's
here's
satanic.
what? What's that?
Sabotage, that's antifreeze on my driver's side floor
Wow.
on my car with brand new motor.
Wow.
Yep. How did that get there? It came through my engine into my, yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Huh. I said, wow.
I know.
Huh.
And it ended up blowing up a month later. Because I was driving to friends to see if you could fix it. Well,
Was
they're
that
like,
after, was that after it came out of the impound?
yeah.
Huh.
Uh-huh. And like the side of my foot, see those black marks? They're always messing with my right foot. I'll wake up with bruises between there's my big toe and then the toe next to it, like right down where I'll end up with bruises there all the time. It looks like somebody took a pencil tip, the size of a pencil, like an eraser, and stabbed my foot right there. Same spot all the time, but they're always messing with my right foot, and it hurts really bad.
I know a
Always messing
doctor
with
who's targeted. He was a good friend of mine. I need to reach out to him. But anyway, matter of
my
fact,
ankle swollen.
he went to a sauna. Every time he'd go to the sauna and would dry off with a towel, when he got off, there'd be dark yellow spots coming out of his pores. I don't know what that stuff was.
My skin will turn yellow. Yeah, like that. I mean, my face, they're breaking my blood vessels on my face. Also, I didn't want to send you the picture of my right breast, but on my right breast, like on the inside, kind of down below, see, there's a burn. That is a burn. I
Yep.
took a picture. That happened immediately. It looks like a laser where the round spot is, and it went down. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it was stuck there and went down. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. But then they go away. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Plausible
They don't
deniability.
stay. They don't stay like a burn like that would stay like a typical sunburn. I mean, that stays for a couple days, right? You know,
Yep.
they go away. And see down my wrist, if you go down from the vein, it almost looks like there's like a patch. Like you go down the middle and then go to the left. It looks like I have some kind of. Do you see what I'm saying? How it goes? Okay, go out a little bit more. You can see like it looks like you can see where it looks like a bruise, like it's like a different color. Do you see that? All the way across and then all the way up to my wrist.
Oh, right
You
in
go up
here?
and yep, if you go straight from if you start from my palm, the middle of my palm, and you go all the way down that line, and then you cut across to the left to my pinky,
Up in
it looks
here?
like there's a square, like a square patch of a discoloration. It's all one like half of my arm. But that always happens to me. It's big. It's like 3 or 4 inches long.
Right in here?
Yeah, it goes all the way down. Yeah. It's like
Like
I have some
that.
kind of metal plate in me. Yeah. Both
Yeah.
arms have that. My
Huh.
friends noticed it too. They're like, what is going on with you? Like my friends take pictures of this too. There's another burn in my home, my other house, not the
In
one I live
here.
in now. It just happens all of a sudden. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, it hurts.
That's weird. Holly gets her burns on her neck too. Right in the
Really?
same spot.
Does her ear turn bright red too? The ear,
Yep.
and it hurts so bad. It feels it in your cheek.
She gets it right in
Oh,
there too. We got many
yep.
pictures like that.
And then my ear's super red, and then along my neck, and then on my chest. Some of them are more, my ears beat red. And this all happened within 50 feet, leaving my place of employment to my car when I just got off work. And then like the voice to skull, it comes through like Joel said, it comes through my fans, anything moving, the neighbor's heater, my refrigerator, my water, my microwave. I mean, anything that I turn on that has anything like that, it amplifies it 10 months. It's your brother, it's your sister. But like I said, my V2K before was, have you tasted her cooking? See, and it was people, and they're like, do you know what she does for a living? Hey, go over here. Hey, remember me? And it was just voices, but now it's all AI. Now it's all AA because they've ran out of crap to say. So now they put me on an AA program, the same repetitive thing over and over. Look at them 3 bumps. Isn't
That
that
is
bizarre?
weird, isn't it?
Out of nowhere. I'm like, what is
Look,
going on?
I think
That
there
is
was,
just bizarre.
you see that, honey?
That is so bizarre. I'm just like, I mean, there's times, you guys, I pass out. Like Jesse asked me, is there any time that you've ever felt like you don't remember? I said, all the time. I am single, you guys. I don't know if these people are coming into my home and doing something to me or knocking me out with deep weapons and coming in. Do you know what I mean? I have no idea.
Right.
My friends are like, put cameras up. I'm like, they can disassemble your cameras. It ain't gonna help, really. You need to get a dog. But they could probably do something to your dog too. I don't know, but
Yeah, but
isn't
well,
that weird?
a dog is loyal. A dog will. I think well, they can do something to your dog if they really wanted to. But I think a dog would protect you. And
Yeah.
I've even had people tell me their dogs pointed out, sniffed out a direct energy well. They could not like this dude Kenneth. He says his dog uh can detect when something's wrong when he's outside, and then he'll look on the camera, and the dog was barking at something that could only be seen on the
Yeah,
camera.
just just like my dog, like I told you about way back before any of this even started, shaking. She was my baby,
Now, is that
12
what
years
was?
old. See, now this is where I'm being hit all the time. But when I had my RF scan, nothing came up on my knees or my feet, or my hands, but everything else, and my elbow, everything else came up in my upper, my forehead, both TMJs, my chest, my forehead, 2 TMJs, my chest, both shoulders, my abdomen, my chest, my abdomen, my right hip, my left side of my torso, and my left scapula.
Right.
Is where
Now for my viewers,
I'm
if
just
you ever
saying,
get a scan,
preliminary.
right, if you ever get a scan, these scans can find frequencies. All right, so to confirm the scan and confirm like when you get a frequency and he points out like right here,
Right?
you want to ask him where the ultrasound is. You want to ask
Okay.
anybody who does a scan where the ultrasound is. That way, not only are you just having frequencies, but you can confirm it to the court. Look, I got a frequency
Oh,
communicating with something in my body. The
oh,
ultrasound to show a picture. Well, look, this is where a frequency's hitting, and there's something in my body. That's what the ultrasound will show.
oh. Okay, do you know if you know anybody that does that? We kind of like let me know if you know anybody that does that because
Yeah,
I would like to proceed
I'll
with an
talk to you about
ultrasound
it.
then. Okay, thank you. But just to per se that my weaponry is where I'm being hit with this. Now remember, I worked in a hospital, and a lot of people. I mean, I've had surgeries. I've had a hysterectomy in 2010. I've had a tubal ligation. I had my molars out when I was 18. My mom worked for a biomedical place. I did have dentures in 2006 where I was put under, had all my top teeth removed because my teeth were soft. So that could have happened then too, but just too many things, it
There
just,
was
and like,
I couldn't find the one. I know there was one with a bruise, but I can't find it now.
oh yeah, that bruise, you know what that bruise is? It's the shape of a heart. You know what? I still have that bruise is gone, but the skin tissue is broken down there in the shape of a heart because my voice to skull program, you know what I hear all the time? Follow your heart, follow your heart. One day I woke up with that bruise on my arm in the shape of a heart. I have no idea how it got there. Imagine that in a perfect shape of a heart. Isn't that
From
crazy?
That's real
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah. Especially when my voice to skull program was
She
telling me that from the get-go. It's a
gets
perfect
a lot
heart
of burns on her neck. Ain't that weird? Same spot
in
you
my ear all the time, on my neck constantly. And my forearms, on the top of my forearms, and my arms are affected a lot. And they turn bright red in my hands and they feel like they're swollen. And when I'm driving home or something, they start to heat up so bad. It hurts so bad. And by the time you take well, you can't take a picture because my camera is so halved that it won't show the redness that I am seeing or my friends see. But I do have my friends take pictures of it when it happens, and they do have documentation of that, and it turns out perfect. My phone, I can take a picture with my phone and take a picture with their phone, and it's completely
we deal with the
different
same
pictures.
thing, don't we,
Yep.
Holly?
So I have my friends documenting this for me as well. Throughout the last 3 years, my best friend, she's been helping me through this. My church is too. They think it's spiritual warfare, which in a way it is. It's demonic and it is spiritual warfare. And we always have to remember our Savior is Jesus Christ, and He's the one that we have to stand and be faithful to because He's the one that does it all. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know that you do believe.
Oh
But
yeah.
that is the truth, David. It really, really is. Like I said, I
And I
was
get
saved
made
again in
fun of in the
2020.
comments and all that, but you know what? I've had supernatural stuff happen where I wasn't supposed to be here, and it wasn't me that made that split second decision, or it
Right.
wasn't me that made the stuff happen in the supernatural.
Yeah.
So I've seen supernatural behind
Hmm.
my
Me
prayers,
too.
and people are telling me I'm crazy. No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
Too many incidences to
Mhm.
be coincidence.
Yeah, you're not. It is him, and he's the one that has control.
I'm gonna try something. Last picture. Let's see. Let me see. Oh,
But
here
that
it
heart
is,
is
right here.
crazy. There it is right there. Look at that. It's a heart.
I see it. It's you see that?
It's a perfect heart. I woke up with that like that, and even yellow like that. Nothing was there before because I went to work. It's a heart. See that?
Right.
And I still have it scarred on my arm. Like if I turn my arm, you can still see it. Like it's not there, but it's like my skin was broken down there from radiation. Da da da. Your muscles break down. Do you know what I'm saying?
She said they break her blood vessels in her face too.
Yeah. And on my sides, on my ribs where I sleep, and on my breast too. I have on my where they hit me right here. They've hit me for years. I have broken blood vessels. You tell me how you get a broken blood vessel on the side of your, pardon me, on the side of your breast right here in a
Right.
spot.
I
You
have
don't.
hundreds of it's called petechiae.
Yeah.
Hundreds of petechiae all over where they hit me, all over my stomach and breast.
Mine's
Hundreds
on
and
the side of my
hundreds.
rib cages. Really bad.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
they
On
burn.
the
I
inside of
got
my
them
knees.
same things all over my top of my stomach.
Yeah, well, that's from
Mhm.
directed energy weapons.
Yeah, it
And
is.
they
And
burn
I have a
holes in
spot
my
like right
face.
here where they say I have an implant and there's like a calcify over here, but all
Have
this
you
right here is broken down.
have
All
you
my
ever had
skin is broken.
thyroid problems?
Oh, speaking of, so years ago I did, and I was on thyroid medicine. Well, for the last 8 years, my thyroid was so out of whack, it elevated my heart rate. That's why your heart rate's 180. Bullshit. It's because of these DEW weapons that I didn't know were going on. And I would be into 180s. Well, I ended up being high, low, high, low. They're like, oh my God, we're gonna have to take your thyroid. I'm like, I've been on thyroid level thyroxine for 3 years because my thyroid's out of whack. This was 15 years ago. For the last 8 years, I haven't had a thyroid problem until July 24th when I went to have my physical. Now I'm back on level thyroxine. Now I was told,
We're
and I
both
was in
on it.
nursing school, but when you have thyroid problems, you have them for the rest of your life, and you are on medication for the rest of your life. That is a known fact. So you tell me why I was clear for 7 years,
What I was going to
and then
say
now
is
all
I
of a
did
sudden I'm
studies
back
on this,
on it.
and
What's
direct
that?
energy weapons affect
Uh-huh.
the radiation. It'll
Mm-hmm.
burn your thyroid out and make it underactive. And
Yep.
matter of
And
fact,
now that's
and
I'm
another thing
underactive
that
right
does
now.
it too is when you're getting gang stalked, especially when you're homeless or organized stalking, and you're in fight or flight constantly through all the psychological distress and your adrenaline glands and fight or flight, it'll burn
Yeah.
your thyroid out too, and it'll ruin it. So then you have to have
Mhm.
thyroid replacement.
And that's what they were going to do back then. And but then all of a sudden I was clear for 8 years, and I found that to be very odd because
And
I was
I'm not
like,
a doctor. I'm just speaking from
neither
my
am I.
experience.
I'm neither
I'm
am
just
I, but
saying
I
that for
know enough.
YouTube.
Yeah. Right. And neither am I. I'm not neither, but I mean, it's my labs, and I learned about that because I was a nurse. I mean, seriously, I know
A
it's my
lot
body,
of
it's my lab.
TIs
So
have
I'm going to
thyroid
study
problems.
why I'm on it, you know. I mean, and so I'm back on it now. I'm underactive all of a sudden. You know, I go every year for a physical with my family practitioner, which I did switch hospitals, by the way, because I had to get out of there. So I did switch to Gateway now. I love my doctor. I've been with him for almost 4 years now. And I was fine until this last July when I went in. And I don't have any more muscle on my right hip where they say I have an implant, and I was directed energy there for all the time. Now I'm getting a right hip surgery. I
Wow.
have nothing that's bone to bone. I'm in process for that right now. That's why I'm on disability.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully you'll come back and do a part two.
Yeah,
But
I would
before
love
we
to
go,
come
I
back.
want you to I want to ask you if you have any message you'd like to give to any TIs watching this, like ways I'd like you to cover ways you cope with this, and any message
Okay.
you may have. Because
Yep.
TIs tell me all the time, hey, I heard this person's story and what they do to cope. I tried it and it helped me. So, I like asking different people what they're doing to cope,
Mhm. Well, this is what I have to say, never give up and don't ever, ever, ever try to do anything to harm yourself or anybody else. Like with me, I have found out for me after the years, music. And I found, like but music for me right now is music and it's jazz. Any like remixes, like, you got Tone Loc, all these singers all together singing one, like Eminem's a good person to listen to because he's always got different persons remixing the songs because they can't keep up with the AI or the whatever you want to call that you're finally into the program, whatever step you're in. Music, also dancing, 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 dancing. And you know what? Ignore the colors. Try to ignore. I know it's hard. Try to ignore the things that they are sensitizing your eyes to when you were in public. Do that because it makes them mad, and eventually you will yourself. You'll stop. It'll become so calming. It is like you're like, this is so old. I'm so sick of seeing white cars and white one headlights. And just stop. Just they're trying to do that to you. You got to try to figure out, you just cannot focus on that. You got to focus on you. I've noticed that. I've also noticed, like just moving, doing different things. Try to stay away from sugar. I do garlic like David does, but I do black garlic, which is, I like it because it's sweeter and I can chew it. Garlic's good. Stay away from sugar. Stay away from
Oh, black
processed
garlic.
food.
And black garlic's what, sweet? It don't burn your
And it's
mouth as
soft,
much.
huh?
It don't burn your mouth as much.
It's so good. You'll be addicted to it. Oh, but it's expensive. But you got to try black garlic. It's really yummy.
Look into that.
It comes black. You take the peel off. It's soft. You can eat it. It's so good. You can cook with it. You can slice it up in your mushrooms. Woo! But I'm doing a mushroom tea too. I do a mushroom tea. The 8 mushrooms. I've been doing a mushroom tea that seems to
Yeah.
help. Stay away from. I know alcohol does help with the voice to skull if you do it in moderation in your own home. Do not get behind a wheel of a car. And if you're in your own home and you're having a few shots just to fall asleep, I understand it. Stay away from any hardcore street drugs. Stay away from that. And do not run around and tell people you are hearing voices. Do not do that. You're going to get a 72-hour lockup. There are so many people out here that they can call or get on platforms like you, David, or other people and talk to these people and listen to other people's stories, and you just got to just be strong. And sometimes I go on live on YouTube and I just start talking about nothing, and it is a good therapy for me. And it's good therapy for me to get out and to get on it and to talk and just be like, yeah, today I'm
Right.
doing okay. But just be strong. Be strong.
Well, thanks. I hope you'll come back and finish.
I would love
I
to. I
know.
got a lot more stories to tell you.
All right. Well,
So
we'll schedule that. But
yeah,
I really appreciate your courage and stuff because I know, especially being alone, it's probably
yeah,
it's courageous in my opinion. Anybody speaks out, that's a courageous act. Because one, a lot of people, 90% of the people don't believe it, but people are waking up now though. This is getting
yeah,
out. So
yeah. My
it may be
employers
too
know
late
about
by
it
the time
too.
everybody gets woke up. It may be too late. And but we're trying.
Yeah, my employers know too. My manager of my store that I'm at, the store manager knows, and my HR knows, and they know, and they completely believe me. They have my back. So
Oh,
because
that's
I've worked there
awesome.
for 3 years, and they know that I'm not crazy and I'm not making this up. So that's good to have that support as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's
Mhm.
another thing. Don't give up. Don't,
No, don't
because I
ever
was
give
in that
up.
attitude. Nothing good's gonna happen for me, or
Yeah.
everything's a setup. And when you go through all that trauma, anything good feels like a setup. And a lot of times we cheat ourselves out of something that might be a blessing because we're scared. It might be a setup. So learning how to differentiate between a blessing and a setup, when something
Okay.
good comes your way, is very, very important for a target. And it's
Right.
hard
And
to
one
do.
more.
It's easier said than done.
Right. And one more important thing I have to say is if you're trying to tell somebody that you're hearing voices, or if you're trying to tell somebody that you're being gangsta, if you're telling that person and they seem to not care, please do not continue to push them to believe you. walk away and say thank you, because you know what? That's going to hurt you more, like it did to me. I learned the hard way. I was trying to beg people to please believe me. I have this, I have that, this and that. You guys know me. And it was hurting me more. And I found out that when you're trying to explain something to somebody, if they seem like they don't give a crap or don't even want to know about it, stop and say, thank you for listening. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye. You know what I mean? Don't push them. Don't push
Right.
them. Nope. That's a wrong thing to do. That just makes you look crazier, and it makes you feel unvalid. And you
Oh,
just
yeah.
need to, you don't need that. Just be like, oh, okay, well, I guess
Especially
they
in a
just don't
small town
understand. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
where they
So,
whisper every time you walk around the corner. Oh, there's
yeah.
such and such. Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank you.
Right.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop recording. I
Yep.
really
Yeah, you
appreciate you
gotta move
coming
to
out.
catch.
And don't you
Yeah.
have you want to tell them what your YouTube channel is?
I'm just Karen Lind, fighting for justice or targeted individual, but I'm under Karen Lind on YouTube. They're pretty cool to watch. You can see me grow. You can see me being. You just watch sometimes, and yeah, it helps.
Right. So if y'all want to find her or
Yeah.
support her and her
Yes.
fight, because I'm for anybody, any targeted individual speaking out, and I think everybody targeted should speak out if they got. If some people don't have the means because their devices are so hacked and stuff like that.
Right.
But if you can make a video and speak out, I think we need to we need to speak out as much as we can before it's too late, because it's going to be too
Right.
late eventually. And
Right.
this is like a race for justice and exposing, because they're going to roll this out in the whole world if they haven't already. Who knows? I'm kind of in the thing that everybody's targeted. They just haven't turned, they haven't
Right.
turned it on for
Figured it
them.
out. Like my children, they don't talk to me, and they haven't for a while, and I have no idea why, and I'm really
Now, I'm
concerned
not
about
saying
them.
everybody's targeted to this point of
Oh,
smear
right.
campaigns. I'm talking about
Right.
has the stuff in them. It's just not activated yet. That's just my
Right.
opinion.
Yep. Absolutely. You're
All right.
right.
Well, thank you. I'm going to stop recording.